Do you think it's worth selling in bulk on eBay? Have you thought about buying things and listing them in multiple quantities just so you can make everything a lot easier for your reselling business? Well, we're going to talk about that very subject here on the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I am Prof Sales and welcome to the channel.
And I'm just Ask Kaaren, not Prof Sales, but
We are glad you're here. This channel is about being a reseller, selling things on eBay and Amazon, being a business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, and just creating a positive community here in our little neck of the YouTube.
What?
What?
Welcome and happy Friday or whatever day it is when you happen to be rewatching this video.
You got a 1 in 7 chance of being right.
Yeah.
I did the math, Prof Math, already.
So there, we got that. We can check that off the list, right? Prof Math.
Prof Math already done.
Done.
But we are glad you guys are here and join us. There's a live chat going on. Please leave us questions or comments in the chat. Just identify them as a question with the word question in front or a question mark so we know that it actually is a question. Or if you're watching later, you can leave a question or comment after the show post.
Or if you want to be profound, make a statement. Step outside of the box. Don't ask a question. Just put yourself out there.
There's a weird idea, but not weird at all. The other thing we would like you to do, if you are enjoying this content, if you think that someone else might get value from it, the like button is great, but ultimately I'm going to ask you to do something a little different. There's a little button below this player, and it's the share button. And if you click that little button, it will generate a link that you can post really anywhere and share it on social media, email, share it with somebody maybe you think that would get some benefit from this. Maybe you know somebody who is thinking about selling in bulk on eBay, or they just would like this channel. And I would like to ask you to please share this video if that's the case.
Spread the love. Spread the reseller love. Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So let's say hi. We have failed to say hi to people, and it's Friday, so we're going to say hi. So first in the room was Turtle Trader. Hey, you. It's been a long time. We need to get together and catch up. Prof Sales is here apparently. Hi, Julia. Hi, Michelle. Adam, 80 a.m. Good. It's always to see you.
Was that a question about the spelling of his name?
Sell Quick, Ship Quick is here. Gina, Stephanie, Mark, Clearance Ninja. Where would we be without the ninja? And Sassy, and it's on backwards. Like some of my favorite people. Oh, drummer. See what I did there? Is also in the house. So welcome to all of the people. Welcome everybody, and hello. I liked my badunk. Just saying.
Good. That was good. You could be a drummer.
I am when I'm driving and no one's looking.
She is. You know, when I first met Kaaren, one of the things that I loved about her, she had a truck back at that time, but one of the things I noticed was in the truck she had a set of drumsticks.
Yeah, and to this day. Well, I was like,
why are these here? I got very excited.
So I noticed that at his drum set, there's now like 2 extra sets. I totally think you took my drumsticks from my car. But
I think you're right.
We can talk about that another time, yeah?
Yep, we can leave that for later. But again, we are glad that you guys are here, and we're going to talk about this idea of selling in bulk on eBay because, like all things, we are always constantly reevaluating our business, reevaluating our approach. And this idea of selling in bulk is very interesting for lots of reasons. You wouldn't be selling and buying in bulk if it weren't for the ninjas. I'm not sure what that means, Clearance Ninja, but I like it.
Just not. Otherwise, ninjas, you know?
Otherwise, ninjas.
Hey,
ninjas.
Hey, Retro Dottie. Hey, Purple Lily. It's been a long time, too. Hope you're doing well.
So, jeez. You're in rare form.
Or
maybe it's normal. It's hard to tell.
It's pretty much normal.
So let's talk about this a minute, guys, because we're going to talk about some advantages and disadvantages of selling in bulk on eBay. Maybe you've thought about it. Maybe you're not sure how to proceed. Maybe you are interested in going down this pathway for your business. And so we're going to talk to you about what we think are some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages and kind of where we're at in this process, because I've been putting a lot of time into this as of late. And I just want to share with you what we have, what we've come up with.
Well, I think when people hear the word bulk, I think the natural go-to is Amazon, right? People think that when you're selling on bulk, it has to be an Amazon thing. Like we can't do quantities or wholesale or bulk stuff unless it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
How contraire, mon frere, right?
What does that even mean, mon frere?
That means like respectfully agree to disagree. So
I think it means my brother.
Yeah.
But
it just means you can just keep going with the agenda here.
I was just checking on your French. All right, so lots of items are sold in bulk on eBay. Let's rein this in. This is out of control. Lots of items are sold in bulk on eBay. Now, the way you can tell this is if you go to a listing, and you're going to find this in a lot of commodity type items, but if you go to a listing and you click on like a sold listing, often it will tell you how many have sold of that item. And that's a great way to gauge interest, right? Because you can see over a period of time, how many have sold, and then you can see the price as well. So it's a great way to figure that out if an item is being sold in bulk on eBay. Now, obviously, some items make no sense for bulk because they're one-offs, they're very rare, they're unique. Those are not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a lot of times more commodity items. Like Kelly is in the room and she sells a lot of socks, new socks. And that's a great item to sell in bulk, right? Because we typically buy socks in bulk. I mean, we do buy one pair at a time sometimes, but there's other sort of the cheaper run-of-the-mill, I'm going to wear these every day kind of socks that a lot of us buy in bulk. So it makes sense.
Well, and it's such a logical replenishable, right? It's like you're not going to buy one pair of socks and it's going to be the same pair of socks you have for the rest of your life. So it's one of those brilliant models where people will always need the socks, right, Kelly?
Yes, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of advantages to selling in bulk on eBay.
Oh, sure.
And, the first advantage that I think that jumps out at me is that you can source an item through research, which is much faster than sourcing it if you drive out somewhere. If you drive to a yard sale or a thrift store or a estate sale or wherever you're going, it's a lot quicker to look things up online. I mean, the world revolves around the internet in a lot of ways, right? It's so ingrained with our everyday life. And you can source items to sell in bulk very, very easily from your couch in your pajamas if you want.
And you know what? I just thought of something kind of serious. Like we joke about going to work in our pajamas, which, by the way, we cannot do anymore since we come to a public place.
We could. We would just probably want to change into them once we got
but you just touched on something like we have friends that are homebound for various reasons, right? Maybe by injury or circumstance. And this is an opportunity for people to still remain viable in the reseller platforms. You can work from, like you said, you can work from your couch, you can work from home in your pajamas, but sometimes circumstance it makes that necessary. So this is a way, definitely an advantage if you can't get out of the home. So
totally agree. And Clearance Ninja says first we have to define bulk. That's a great point. And for me, it's just, I don't know what you think of when you hear that word, but I think of it as more than one of the same item. Like technically two is bulk, but usually we think about getting several of the same item. Maybe we get the same item, but some different colors or different variations, but we're getting items more than one at a time of this, usually the same item.
Well, and Ninja, good job. We were definitely remiss. I'm always the disclaimer and definition provider. But yeah, so in addition to that, do we have a number? Like what would be?
Well, it's tough because, I mean, think about some things like say you were selling computer monitors online. Those are big, bulky electronics. There's a bulk word. And they're expensive. You might only get in 3, 4, 5 of those at a time. But on the other hand, if you're selling, lipstick, you might buy in the hundreds at one time. So it's kind of tricky to put exactly a number, but obviously it's more than one, and it's usually more than one of the same item. And it could be different colors or sizes or variations and so on. So
well, and I think in defining it, like the opposite of it is all of these one-offs that we've talked about. Like we've talked about going and having to go to that particular estate sale to pick up that one item, or that, that pair of shoes that you found at Goodwill, or that pair of jeans that you found, like maybe part of our definition of bulk buying is that it's going to be a lot of thingies from one source.
Right. And Kelly says, I think of bulk as more than one person needs. So she's talking about it on the other side of the equation, that a person's going to buy more than one at a time, which is an interesting. I mean, I hadn't thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. You could view it as, I mean, you don't usually buy shoes in bulk, for instance. Like shoes are usually a one. You buy one pair of shoes. Like I want that one. But you do buy toilet paper in bulk. I mean, because it doesn't make sense to go buy one roll at a time. You get a better discount with multiple rolls and so on. So you're right. I mean, on the backside of it, you could argue that it's things that people buy more than one of them. And
That's cool.
Ninja says, a lot might be 2 or 3 or a smaller amount.
Right. And then that's a lot or a lot. Like we have to define our term, like different things. We have to be specific, right?
Right.
And that leads us right into the next one, which in another advantage of selling in bulk or
as a lot, however you want to look
whatever, at it. You can list in quantity, which means you're spending one time to create one listing.
Yep.
And then you're done. Like set it, forget it, one time, boop. Instead of one pair of shoes, one pair of shoes, one pair of shoes. This is okay.
Yeah.
And Kelly, thanks for coming today because we're going to use you as the go-to example. But we get this one lot of, wool hikers, mid-rise, and I don't know all the socky terms, but you know what I mean? Like, so we get this 100 pair of wool socks and boom, we list it.
Right. One listing. And even there, you could put in color variations. You can still just do one listing, take one, take one set of photos, of each one, maybe of each variant, but ultimately it could even be just the same thing. So a lot of things are simpler with the listing process. It's much faster. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody would argue that. I think the shipping, and Kelly mentions this too, but the shipping being standardized is another great asset because if you're selling, I don't have a great item here, but we'll say, yeah. So these are the little, magic erasers, abrasive erasers, whatever you want to call them. But like if you're selling these in bulk online, you're probably going to sell them in a package. They're probably not going to come loose like this. They might be in a little container, but you're going to be able to standardize your shipping for these because you're going to sell them in quantities that you're going to know. All right, 1 goes in this box, 2 fits in this one, 3 fits here, or whatever the numbers are. So your shipping gets simpler too because you can standardize it. You can say, well, I'm going to need these types of boxes. I'm going to ship this way. This is the cheapest method, what have you, and that's one of the things that, we've liked about other areas we've sold in, which we'll talk about in a moment.
And what's interesting is along our journey, as we're seeking out sources to sell in bulk or to buy, we should actually say to buy in bulk would be the first step. That might simplify a little bit, right?
That's a good point.
So when we're seeking out sources to buy in bulk, that's one of the things we're actually considering before we make a purchase is, do we already have the shipping materials in-house to facilitate that? And depending upon the size of the item, we just ordered a bunch of new supplies, but that's played a huge role, had an impact on deciding whether or not we go with this lot or that lot. Because if we introduce something new, one, that's got its own challenges, but 2, if we have to reinvent how we ship and the supplies that we use to ship, that's a whole nother, that adds time. And
Kelly has a great comment. Says, I've sold over 1,200 on one listing. Imagine how long it would take you to list 1,200 individual items. That's a long time. So it's hard to even put a number on how many hours she saved there, weeks of work, actually.
Oh, sure.
Next up is...
well, it's interesting. The next one, and you can go on and on about it because you are the one that brought it up. But when we were putting together this outline, we found that buying in bulk is very much like niching. And how is that, Jason?
Because with niches, you are standardizing things like your shipping. You're getting efficiencies by listing and photographing and sourcing the same thing over and over and over, knowing exactly how to get those items and how to best utilize your time and efficiency with those listings. And that's what you do in a niche. You get the same type of items in the same category. You source similarly, you list similarly. I mean, all those things, and you save a lot of time through all those processes because you don't have to do all this research and recreate the wheel with every single listing. So it's very much like being in a niche.
Sure. And Vicki says that the kinds of items that she sells, she's not necessarily making a lot on each individual item. But again, it's a lower cost item, but she's selling a ton of them, right? And she's taking that one time, that one moment or moments to list it. Boom, she's done, moves on to the next thing. And it's funny, Kelly says that she's selling all these socks, but she doesn't even wear them.
Right. And Kelly's, let's go back to her example here for a moment, because granted, she's had to replenish the one she had 1,200 on.
Well, sure.
But let's say that all told, she's maybe only spent, let's say 4 hours on that listing and replenishing that listing. I don't know if that's true or not, but if she spent 400 or 4 hours and sold 1,200 and even only made $1, per item, that's a ridiculous hourly rate.
Yep.
So every one that you sell, your hourly rate goes up. It keeps going up and up and up because you're not putting any more time into it. Yes, you have to pack and ship, but that's with every item as well. But you're not putting more time into source. And if you can find one that's replenishable, you can keep getting that item over and over. If you find sources that can keep coming to you, so you don't have to go find it. That saves even more time.
Thank you, Adam, for the beautiful blue super chat. And thank you for thanking us and being a positive part of this community. And the end of his comment, you'll see, says, Vegas, baby.
Oh, so, that's what it means, BB?
I think so.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. So
we'll talk about that later too.
So that's some of the pros, but there's some disadvantages too to selling on bulk, and I think it's only fair to cover those as well. It's not all rosy.
So one of the biggies is that you buy this big pile of something, and it could take a while to move. It might not be an overnight sell through, and therefore your capital is tied up for a lengthy period of time. That would kind of stink, wouldn't it?
It would. And stay tuned, because I'm going to show you a tool that's going to potentially help you figure out how many might sell of something, but not in the way you're thinking. But I'm going to share that with you guys here in just a moment, so hang on for that. But you're absolutely right. You tie up the capital, and it takes a while to get your money back out. You might choose a bad item or series of items.
Yeah.
And you might be stuck with a large loss, because if you're buying in bulk to sell in bulk, you're not buying one. It's not like, I bought, this pair of Cole Haans and they haven't sold for 6 months, but I'm only out $5. Well, if I bought 100 of these, I'm out $500. That's a much different impact on my business.
And one of my first responses to that is, oh, well, we'll just write it off. And when I say that, I don't mean to minimize. Like, I'm not meaning to not honor your investment in your business, right? But that's one thing that you can do. You can donate it back. You can sell it a different way. There's other things you can do. But, it's never, yes, you're going to sit on it and not realize the return just yet. But it's, it'll either eventually sell, or you'll figure out something else to do with it. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the cheekiness in the
nice. What are we on? Number 3?
Something about tools in the comments. So
somebody's bringing this up already.
Yeah. Somebody actually brought this one up, that when you are buying and then selling in quantities like that, buying in bulk, selling in multiple quantities, your margins tend to be lower as well. What does that mean? Let's define it, and then you can say what you're going to say.
That's the part for me that's the toughest, and not because I expect to have a huge margin. I mean, it's a bulk item, but given that they could take a while to move, they probably will take a while to move, and you got to tie up your capital. And I'm going to choose poorly some percentage of the time. That's going to happen. Anybody who's done this for long enough is going to tell you they've made some mistakes. The margins being lower mean that you really have to hit it out of the park and sell a lot of these items, in a short enough time frame to make sense. And that requires you to really do your research beforehand. You really have to have a good feel and a good idea of knowing, all right, if I go deep in these and buy 100 of them, I'm not going to be stuck with these 5 years from now. Like, they're going to sell before that. Like, I'm okay, unless you've got enough capital to just buy a lot of different items like that. And then they're all kind of always selling at some point or another. But the margins are going to be lower. I mean, you're not going to make as much money per item. You're not going to put any more time into it either. So that's, you get that back out. But people could get caught up in that. Like, well, man, I'm only making $3 an item. And Prof, didn't you and Kaaren just say the other day, hey, don't sell a bunch of low selling, average selling price items? We did.
But we also at the same time said it's different if you have the one and done, you list one and then you have them and you have a place and you can sit on them for a period of time. We did say that as well.
Right. That's exactly right. So, I mean, it's, it goes back to what is your time worth? What's your VAT? What's your hourly rate you want to get? And then you can, sort of figure that out if an item will hit it or not. So, that's definitely a real sticking point for a lot of people. You're not going to make as much per item. The margin is not going to be as good. And then the last thing that we have here for a disadvantage is it's a more expensive outlay at the start. If you're just getting started selling on eBay, for instance, I don't know that I would go with this strategy. I feel like you have a lot of things still to learn about just selling in general. And to, like, what was it today? You said, hey, why don't you get those 3 bulks today? And I was like, that's a lot of money, and I'm like, I'm not going to just jump into a whole big bunch of bulk buys and, drop $1,000 or $2,000 on inventory that might set for years.
Right.
That's tricky.
And another trap that we fall into in life, as in reselling, it's really tempting to just, but it's such a good deal, I'll just put it on my credit card. Like, with the interest rate on that card, and it's one of the lessons that we're trying to reinforce with Ben, is it doesn't matter if you get it on sale, you get it half off. If you're paying a 22% interest rate on your credit card and you don't pay it off for 6 to 12 months, you're not realizing that savings. So you really aren't saving that much money, and potentially you're paying more than you should have in the first place. So it's difficult. It's tempting, and we
go ahead. Don't mind me.
Okay. I don't know what you're doing.
You're good.
So it's tempting, but you have to watch that. And there'll be other good deals. Don't beat yourself up.
Oh, for sure.
But that's, that is one of the drawbacks when you start looking at buying in bulk and selling in quantity. One of the drawbacks is it can be a lot of money, and it is a big outlay and potentially a big risk, especially if are you going to do a screen share or something? What are you doing?
I was going to.
All right.
Yeah. So I was going to show you guys one of the sites we started looking at. If you follow Luke over at Endless Entrepreneurs, you might know this site. He's talked about it, I believe, with some of his stuff that he's selling. And this one's called Blue Lots. I'm going to do a quick screen share. And this particular site allows you to go in and buy bulk lots. Where do you want me to go? You're waving me on.
Just nothing.
Oh.
Just you're fine.
And this is one where, like you see here, like here's a beauty item and so on, like 40 units for $96 plus or some shipping. So you can figure out what your average cost is. And there's lots of sites out there like this. It's not the only one. I just want to show you guys, like, there's definitely a lot of great sites out there that you can find bulk items on. These have like electronics. These are a little bit higher price ones because they've got electronic items and so on. And usually, like, when you click on all these, they will pull up a quick manifest that will show you exactly what they have in them. And you can go in and sort of start doing your research on them.
And it's funny, we were looking at some this morning, and the manifest had everything from pool noodles to styrofoam florist balls. And that one caught my eye because it came in at value 0, like MSRP of 0. I was like, what? It was just kind of funny.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of great places you can get it. You can obviously also buy in bulk locally. If somebody's got a big, bunch of stuff for sale, you've got an opportunity there. And that's probably your best deal because you can go pick it up. You don't have to pay any shipping. You can go see the merchandise. There's a lot of liquidators and people who do this stuff locally. Some of it's great. Some of it's not so great. It's just like any other type of sourcing. I don't think that it's really like you can point to this model for sourcing or that one and say it's great, it's terrible. It depends, it's like anything else. So it really just depends on what sources you're going to. But the other thing I want to show you guys before we do that, I'm showing you one more resource we use or started using. Once again, if you guys are enjoying this video and so on, click the share button down below the player. It's a little button there. It generates a link. Just copy that link, paste it in, like on a social media site, email, text message, whatever you're doing, and just share the message. Maybe there's somebody who's thinking about this method, or they've done it before and are wanting to get back into it, and just let them know that, hey, check out this video. Maybe they'll get some value out of it, and we appreciate it. Ooh, that was a lot of words in a row.
Take a breath. Moving on.
Last thing I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you a little hack here that I think has got some value for, really, you could use this for anything, but it's especially valuable for bulk. This is an Amazon tool, believe it or not. And it's free to use. but I think you could use it for bulk buys. Now I'm going to explain what I mean here in a moment. There's a tool called Jungle Scout, and they have a free tool. I'm going to share it with you. It's called Jungle Scout. It's called the Estimator. Now you're like, what is Prof getting at? I thought we were talking about eBay. Well, we are, but this is the Jungle Scout Estimator page. You can see right here, junglescout.com/estimator. And if you go to this site, you choose your marketplace. We'll say the USA, and we'll say it's a beauty item. Like we were just looking at some beauty items. And if you go to Amazon, you can find out the sales rank of any item. Like if you pull up an item in Amazon, it's going to tell you the sales rank. So let's say the sales rank was 25,000 in Amazon. This will tell you that on average on Amazon, you can estimate probably somewhere around 5 sales per month. Okay. Now you're probably saying to yourself, why is this valuable for eBay? Well, I understand that eBay and Amazon are not the exact same. However, Amazon is really good at moving a lot of items in a short amount of period of time. And while you may find some solds on eBay, Amazon has superior data collection on how quickly an item will move. If an item moves fast on Amazon, it's likely to move fairly fast on eBay. Maybe not as fast. If an item moves slow on Amazon, it's likely to move slow on eBay as well, just in general, because there's just not a lot of market for it. Now, I know there are certain items that doesn't matter that wouldn't apply to, like one-offs and vintage items and collectibles, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about bulk items, items you're going to get a whole lot of quantity on. So like Kelly, in your case, you could literally go in there, find a specific sock, put in the ASIN for Amazon in that estimator, and see what the sales rank is on Amazon and get an idea about how quickly that particular ASIN is moving. And that's going to, and probably scale it down some to eBay. I don't know what the percentage is, maybe 20, 30% less. I would start at maybe somewhere around there and say, all right, it's selling 30 a month on Amazon estimate. So maybe it's going to sell around 22 on eBay. So you can get an idea about how quickly that item might move. Now, it's not a perfect analogy, but it gives you somewhere to start because eBay does not really have a great tool like that. I mean, they just don't. There's no way to tell easily how quickly an item is going to move with what velocity on eBay. So thought I would share that with you guys. Just a little hack you can use from platform to platform. You know, disclosure, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect analogy, but I think there's some value to it.
Well, and it is, Bearded Picker pointed out, yes, Adam, the Jungle Scout is paid, but the estimator thingy is free. So anybody can go. And what is it? Junglescout.com or
Junglescout.com/estimator. Yeah, I'm not a member of Jungle Scout. I don't have a subscription. So that's, and there is Jungle Scout subscriptions for selling on Amazon that can help you in other ways. And I don't have any affiliation with them. Just someone else who's an Amazon seller showed me that. I said, hey, maybe I could use this in certain cases on eBay. So
I thought there were other tools you were going to talk about. Was that the only one?
No, that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Okay. We're going to talk about some other things now. Oh, does anybody have any questions? We just covered Adams with regard to the Jungle Scout being a paid service, but now's the time. All caps the word question, or just put a bunch of random question marks there and let us know how we can help. On topic or off, doesn't matter. Just let us know and we'd be happy to shout it out.
Yeah, so what other topics we got?
Well, are we allowed to say this out loud? So we already made plans to attend the Green Room event this June, which is right around the corner. And guess what? We are now officially speakers at said event. They're going to let me get up in front of people and speak the things. So we're very excited. And the topic, our program is called The Stuck Stops Here. And I can't tell you, it's very catchy. And I'm not even going to tell, that's like your teaser. If you want to know more, you have to come to the event and there's a link down below. But seriously, we have found a way to, what was my sideline for that? Oh, now it left my head. But we're gonna speak together, and I'm very, very excited about
Yep.
that. I don't remember what it'll come to me. You talk about something, and it'll come to me.
So the green room is a reselling group that I'm a part of. It's very small. It's a smaller group, about 800 or 900 members, and I've been a member for I guess over 2 years now. You guys might know Steve Rakin, Chris Bonafide, Chris Dupuis, the Bonafide Hustler, and Eric College Picker are all the creators of it, the founders, and it's a really great group of people. I like it because it is a smaller group. And if you're interested in it, there is a link down below in the description. You can check it out if you're interested in membership. So it's really cool. I've gotten a lot out of it, made a lot of great friends. And, one of my consignor clients I met there. So there's real value to certain groups and certain connections you make in these groups. So absolutely, that's going to be a great time. I went last year, and now Kaaren gets to go this year, so it's going to be fun.
So we're going to Austin, and I'm just psyched that I get to meet some of my girls. I get to actually meet face to face, and you know who you are. Maintaining momentum on every platform. That is your teaser for what we're going to talk about, and all of the points along the way will relate back to how you resell and how you kill it in the reselling arena. So there you go.
Yes. So check that out. That's in June, right?
Right.
Second week of June.
And speaking of, I get to meet all the ladies face to face. We're also going to be finalizing plans for us to attend the eBay Open, right? We have just been kind of procrastinating more than we should. And those darn plane tickets, Adam and I spent, I don't know, like an half hour, 45 minutes going back and forth, but the plane tickets keep fluctuating. And we're talking about going out with our CPA friend, Jared. So we should have all of that finalized by the weekend. So hopefully next week we'll be able to make an announcement and let everybody know about
There was a couple
that.
questions we might have missed.
The games. Where did the games come from behind us? That represents a lifetime of hoarding. I mean, investing in my child. So from the time he was born, I was that person. I was a reseller before I was a reseller. I would go to Target, and whenever
she was sourcing.
Yeah, for real, before I even knew what it was, they would put these Star Wars in particular. We collected everything Star Wars from the time he was born. And they would put like I have Risk Star Wars brand new in a box. I have Pez. I have these. So every time a game, Star Wars or just cool, would go clearance, I would buy it and I would stash it. And that's what you see here. So now, 15, 18 years later, anywhere in that range, I'm now putting it out into the universe. And this, what you see behind us, is a bunch of stuff that's either going to go and we've talked about this, it's going to either go eBay, and it's all compartmentalized, but eBay, Amazon, or local. So
Ninja asked, how would I handle combined shipping if someone buys in bulk 5 pairs of your same boots? I would ship it the cheapest way possible.
Right. Well, we've talked about, don't we have a thingy on those listings about percentage off on, like, we have some bulk listing where we say if you buy more than one.
Yeah, but it's not those. Yeah. So we would absolutely put them together and combine. Here's the thing, guys, and we didn't mention that in bulk shipping, and we should have. Well, one of the benefits to bulk shipping is that, the post office, for instance, charges you kind of like a set amount for the first item. Well, the second item is not doubly expensive necessarily. Like it's like if you ship a 5-ounce item somewhere first class, maybe it costs, $3.75. Mm-hmm. If you put another 5-ounce item in there and it's 10 ounces, it's not an additional $3.75. Right. It's probably going to be like $4.25. Mm. So you gain every time you add an item because you're not paying that initial fee that, your shipping service is charging you. So anytime you can combine items together, you usually spend less on the shipping. You start per item after that. It's more money, but it's not double the amount. If that makes sense.
Well, and in trying to make some of these bulk buys fit this morning, when we were kind of looking at some lower end items, we were like, well, what would it look like if we put these two together? And it was an item that weighed, maybe less than an ounce, right? Mm-hmm. And so in coming up with our final price and our final profit, that went into the equation, right? And in the particular, I think it was lip something, it just didn't make sense. But you're absolutely right that you can put it in there and put more than one thing together, and it saves for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Vicky's question already got answered about when items, putting items on markdown to the people that have items on watch, get an email about the discount. Yeah. And, I got one of those emails the other day too about your items are in shopping carts. Maybe lower the price so people will buy them. eBay gets very optimistic about that. And it was a whole bunch of items. And I thought, here's the challenge I have with that. Yes, maybe those items got put in eBay shopping carts and then people forgot about them. Like they're not really intending to buy them. They just left them in the cart. So I don't know that lowering the price would really make any difference other than just it gives a better price or a lower price to somebody else.
Right. And look, Kelly showed from 5 ounces to 10 ounces. Like literally it's like 75 cents. Right. And she
it was pretty good. I was pretty close, wasn't I?
And she made a point earlier to beware of some of these online bulk companies that cater to resellers because what they're doing is they're flooding the eBay market.
Right.
And that also played into one of our decisions this morning was we look, not only do you have to look at your particular item, is it current, is it expired, whatever, but what does it look like out there in the reseller, the eBay? Let's just use eBay as the example. How much is out there for sale? Because we're looking at both, right? How many have sold? What's the likelihood that more are going to sell? And then what does the competition look? Because when you're talking about buying hundreds and hundreds of things, I don't want to be one of 100 fish on eBay selling the same thing.
If you could find an item that had good sales velocity using that Amazon tool and did not have a listing, a multi-quantity listing on eBay, that could be a really potentially good item. So I would definitely look for that. Yes, Beth, they're going to have Let It Ride at the tables in Vegas. There is nothing they don't have in Vegas. I promise you. Every game you can think of to separate you from your money is in Las Vegas. I promise you that. Do you have an M-Life card from your poker playing days? I used to. I don't anymore. I guess I could get one again, but I don't know if I'll play there while I'm there or not.
Adam, that's enough. We won't get him back.
The reseller poker game. Where's Sadie at? He needs to be in here too.
Sadie, Yvonne, she's
Yvonne,
yep. That girl will take your money. I bet she's really good at it. I bet she's got a great poker face. Poker face, poker face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a call yesterday from eBay wanting me to switch to same day delivery and said it would really boost my search. I've always done one day handling or same day shipping, not same day delivery. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they say things like that and maybe it does. But I definitely want to see a little bit of proof of that before switching to that, because that would be a real challenge sometimes. If an item came in, like there's days we leave in the middle of the afternoon here. And if an item came in right under the wire, I can't remember what the time is. I want to say it's like 3 p.m.
Eastern, right?
Yeah. Or maybe it's 3 p.m. Pacific. I don't remember, but there's like a window there. And if it's before that, you have to ship it that day for it to be same day shipping. So I don't know. It just would be a challenge in a lot of cases to hit that.
Well, and she's going to go ahead and you're such a great guinea pig. So Kelly's going to give it a try and report back. We will expect copious analysis.
Oh, Adam saved money using his card there. We actually won't.
I knew you were going to look at me. Yeah. So we're staying with a friend when we go out there.
Yep.
So we're trying to make it work. We got 2 big trips this summer. We got to save the money.
Oh my gosh. I'm in the wrong business. I should start an airline because that's not at all expensive. But or hotel business. Jeez. Unbelievable. Buckle down and take one for the team.
That's why we love you, Kelly. Always taking one for the team. And hey, for the record, the only socks I ever wear are socks that I got from you. So if anybody ever needs socks, please. She is not called the eBay sock queen for nothing, people. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I can't remember. Oh, never mind. Okay, that read something else.
You need glass? Want to borrow my glasses?
No, it's like I don't know. Like this light is kind of catching my eye perfectly here for some reason, and it's just driving me a little bit nuts.
Oh, hello, Mike from England. How cool is that? That's very cool.
From Cornwall,
England.
Nice, very nice. I love when we get people from overseas because I always think, how exactly did they find us? I mean, YouTube could have suggested it, but it's kind of tricky with that. What else we're going to talk about?
Shameless rugby plug. So
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow night, my boys, they play the first game of semifinals. They go to states no matter what, but the outcome of tomorrow will determine whether they play for first or they play for third. And God love them because they call it the toilet bowl. Just so you know, if they're not playing for first. You're either playing for first or you ain't.
It's fair.
So just
either first or last.
Positive vibes for my knights in shining armor. They have worked really hard to get to where they're at. And this mama, I was asked last night at practice if I've actually, oh, well, you're going to watch the match on Saturday, aren't you? And I kind of run around behind the scenes and make sure everything happens how it's supposed to. But even though I'm a photographer, I'm one of 2 photographers for the team, I couldn't tell you anything about the matches because I'm so focused on focusing and taking the pictures and getting that perfect shot that I can't even. So I have to watch the tapes afterwards.
Lori says, I'm very new to listing, had an item I listed around the comps. Someone messaged me and said they can get it cheaper at this store, and how do I expect to sell at that price? You don't. You know what I do if someone ever says that to me, Lori? I just say, you know what? You should absolutely buy it at that store.
Yeah.
And move on. Like, you're not going to convince somebody that, you can get in this big, long discussion, but if there's fees and expenses, they don't care, and you're not going to convince them. So it's just better just to say, oh, you should go buy it there. If it's a better deal, absolutely. I would do the same thing.
Kill them with kindness, but then you call me and we'll have the, suck it conversation, right? Behind the scenes. Like, because we do that. Like, we vent a little bit every now and then, do we not?
Yeah,
sure.
Like I got another defect. I got my first defect today in forever. And it was because, once again, the pair of shoes that I had variation on, that I sold the size 15. Then the next month, it sold that same size again that I didn't have. I called eBay. I didn't get a defect. It relisted them again and sold it again. So this time I had to go in the listing completely, list the other 3 remaining 12.5s in their own separate listing. And I'm like, I'm just done with this multivariant listing. I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm going to have to call them to get that defect taken off. Because I canceled it and I had to tell the buyer, nope, once again, I don't have this item. It might even been the same buyer for all I know. But so, there's little things like that just drive you nuts, but I'm not going to get crazy about it. It's not a real defect. It's their system.
You're going to get the defect, but it'll go away because it's on eBay, and they are gracious. They correct it. And once it sometimes takes you 20 minutes to explain how they've made an error. But once that occurs, then of course they take care of it.
No receipts for local sales, Clearance Ninja. I don't know what I would do with that. I record it, but a receipt, it's like
a receipt for what?
Ninja's asking if we write receipts for local sales, like if we sell something to somebody and we write a receipt to them.
Only if they ask for it.
Yeah, and even then it's like, what are they going to do with it? Like, it's not going to be a return. I'm not going to take it back unless it was like electronic and there was something just massively wrong with it,
right? But
that we didn't see,
right? But stay with Ninja. Like, if it were another reseller, they would need a receipt to document the cash or whatever. So yes, if somebody
they can document whatever they want.
So stop. So yes,
I don't care.
we don't have a receipt book, but by all means, yes. Like, we're not offering it or suggesting it, but if someone asks us for one, yes, we have provided, and we'll happily provide.
For your tax purposes. Nah.
Oh no.
It's not that big a part of our sales at this point. I'm not going to worry that much about it, honestly. Everybody should do what they feel comfortable with, but I just think that, you can get bogged down in the minutia of this game if you're not careful. And to me, that's like a minutia thing. Like, all the eBay stuff is where, all this money's flowing in and out of accounts. That's fine. PayPal's tracking it. eBay's tracking it. I'm tracking it. But a local sale here and there, I'll just say, hey, I sold this item. It's no longer in my inventory. It's cost of goods sold. Move on. But hey, talk with your tax professional. Jared's probably watching now and going, you should not be telling people that, Jason. I'm like, I'm not telling them to do anything. I'm telling them what I do, not what they should do.
I just use it to go buy yogurt.
I don't even know what that means. I know what it means, but I don't know why you said it.
Show me the money.
Yes, that's right. Like, we were looking at one of those bulk buys.
Don't look at me. Stop looking at me.
It was like a makeup bulk buy, and she's like, I may need to get some of those and keep those if we buy that one. And I'm like,
No.
You're killing our profit margin, Smalls.
Said, like, you got an entire education. Like, men, just educate yourself. So you got an entire education in makeup this morning.
That's
He's
true.
like, oh, I'll just buy this and it'll be universal. Every woman in the world will use it.
That is not what I said.
Well, that's what you, yeah. So we have different colored skin, right? And different variations and shades and effects that we're going for. And you just can't apply the same makeup to every face.
I understand all that. And I don't really care about any of it. I just want to know if it's going to sell or not, and in what time frame.
And did I or did I not explain to you why that particular item would or would not sell?
You did, and I appreciate it. And we
did
because it didn't really make sense.
And I did say that I could get a sample of something only because we could open it and I would take a better picture, and then I could test it, and then I could speak to whether it was good or not.
It's all about the product,
right, ladies?
Right. You got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you too.
Yeah.
Some coastal property in Kansas. Do you really understand, Jason? I don't know.
Just nod your head. Just smile and nod your head.
I understand that I don't understand. How about that?
You guys just smile and look pretty. We'll take care of the rest.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, that's going to do it for this Friday show, this Friday edition. I hope you guys got some great tips about selling in bulk. And please, if you want to help out the channel and so on, this is all I ask you to do. Click the share button. There's a little share button down there. Generates a link. Copy the link. Paste it somewhere where you know somebody might be able to see it and get. It's really working too, guys. I see the shares going up, which is really cool to see from a creator standpoint. And it lets me know that people are seeing value in these videos, not only you guys, but other people as well. So I really appreciate it. And yes, we have a Star Wars chess set.
Yeah,
it's Risk, actually. It's Risk. It's the game of Risk, not chess.
Yeah, there might be a chess one, though.
I
wouldn't put it.
We have two Risks.
Risks.
Yeah. That's a hard word to say.
And these are cute. They're Disney. I think this one was worth more. But these are little Disney Star Wars. How cute are those?
Yep. Check out those bulk deals out there, guys. See if it's for you. It might be. And let us know how it goes as well.
And as always, this is Just Ask Kaaren.
And Prof Sales.
Saying
good sales to you.